Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll start our reading from chapter 15 of Madhya Lila. We'll actually continue where we left from, verse number 202. From Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langhayate Girim, Yat Kripatamum Bande, Shri Gurum Deen Tarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram, Hari Om Tatsa. Bhaṭṭācārya re grihe sab dravya ache bhari, bhari yeba shak phaladika anaila ahari. At Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya's house, there was always a full stock of food. Whatever spinach, vegetables, fruits, and so on were required, he collected and brought back home. Verse 203. Apni Bhaṭṭācārya kare pakera sab karma, shathira mata vikshana jane pak marma. Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya personally began to help Shathira Mata cook. She was very experienced and she knew how to cook nicely. Verse 204. Paka shalar dakshine dui bhogale ek ghare shala gramera bhog sevahaya. On the southern side of the kitchen were two rooms for offering food, and in one of them the food was offered to Shalagram Narayan. Purported by His Divine Grace Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Among the followers of the Vedic way, the Shalagram Shila, the Vigraha of Narayan, is worshipped in the form of a stone ball. In India, every Brahman still worships the Shalagram Shila in his home. The Vaishyas and Kshatriyas may also engage in this worship, but it is compulsory in the house of a Brahman. Verse 205. Ar ghara Mahaprabhura bhikshar lagiya nibrite kariyache Bhaṭṭanutana Kariya. The other room was for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lunch. The Lord's lunchroom was very secluded and it was a newly constructed by Bhaṭṭācārya. Verse 206. Bahye ek dwar tar prabhu pravishite, pakashalar ek dwar anna parivishite. The room was so constructed that there was only one door opening on the outside, which served as an entrance for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was another door attached to the kitchen, and it was through this door that the food was brought. Verse 207. Battisa athiya kalar angatiya pate, teen man tandulera ubharila bhate. First 3 mans of cooked rice, almost 6 pounds, was poured into a big banana leaf. Purport: this is the beginning of description of the food prepared for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This description is given by Kaviraj Goswami, who it is assumed was an expert cook who knew both how to prepare and how to serve food. Verse 208. Pita sugandhi grite anna sikta kaila chari dike pate grita vahiya chalila. The whole stack of rice was mixed with so much yellowish and fragrant clarified butter then that it began to overflow the leaf. Verse 209. Keya patra kala khola donga sari sari chari dike dhari yache nana vyanjan bhari. There was a number of pots made of the bark of banana trees and the leaves of the keya plant. These pots were filled with various cooked vegetables and placed on all the sides of the leaf. Verse 210. Dasha prakara shaka nimba tikta sukta jhola marichera jhal chana bada badi ghola. There were about 10 kinds of spinach, a soup called sukta which was made with bitter nimba leaves, a pungent preparation made with black pepper, a mild cake made of fried curd, and buttermilk mixed with small fried pieces of dal. Verse 211. Dugda tumbi dugda kushmanda besera lafra mocha ghanta mocha bhaja vivid shakara. There were preparations of dugda tumbi, dugda kushmanda, besera, lafra, mocha ghanta, mocha bhaja, and other vegetables. Verse 212. Riddha Kusmanda, Badira, Vyanjana, Apar, Fool Badi, Phala, Moola, Vividha Prakar. There were unlimited quantities of Vriddha, Kushmanda, Badi, Fool Badi, fruits and various fruits. Verse 213. Nava Nimba Patra Sahya Vrishta Vartaki, Phula Badi, Patola, Bhaja, Kushmanda, Manshaki. Other preparations included eggplant mixed with newly grown nimba leaves fried together, light badi, fried patola, and fried rounds of squash and pumpkin. Verse 214. Rishta Masha Mudga Supa Amrita Nindaya Madhuramla Badamladi Amla Pancha Chaya. There was a soup made with fried urad dal and moong dal, defeating nectar. There were also sweet chutney and 5 or 6 kinds of sour preparations beginning with badamla. Verse 215. Mudga Bada Masha Bada Kala Bada Mista Kshira Puli Narikela Puli Aryata Pista. There were badas made of moong dal, urad dal, and of sweet bananas, and there were sweet rice cakes, coconut cakes, and various other cakes. Verse 216. Kanji Bada Dugdha Chida Dugdha Lakalaki Aryata Pitha Kaila Kahite Nashaki. There were Kanji Bada, Dugdha Chida, Dugdha Lakalaki, and various cakes that I am unable to describe. Verse 217. Grita Sikta Paramana Mrit Kundika Bhari Chan Pakala Ghana Dugdha Amritaha Dhari. Sweet rice mixed with ghee were poured into an earthen pot and mixed with chanpakala, condensed milk, and mango. Verse 218. Rasala Mathita Dahi Sandesha Apar Gode Utkale Yata Bhakshera Prakar. Other preparations included a very delicious churned curd into various variety of sandesh sweetmeats. Indeed, all the various eatables available in Bengal and Orissa were prepared. Verse 219. Shraddha Kari Bhaṭṭācārya Sab Karaila Subhra Pithopari Sukshma Vasan Patila. Thus the Bhaṭṭācārya prepared a great variety of food and spread a fine cloth over white wooden platform. Verse 220. Dui Pashe Sugandhis Shitala Jalajhari Anna Vyanjanopari Dila Tulsi Manjari. On 2 sides of the stack of food were pitchers filled with the scented cold water. The flowers of the tulsi tree were placed atop the mound of rice. Verse 221. Amrit Gutika Pitha Pana Anaila Jagannath Prasad Saba Prathak Dharila. Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya also included several types of food that had been offered to Lord Jagannath. These included sweet balls known as Amrit Gutika, sweet rice, and cakes. All these were kept separate. Although the remnants of food left by Jagannath were brought into the Bhaṭṭācārya's house, they were kept separate from the preparations he had made at his home. It sometimes happens that Prasādam is mixed with a larger quantity of food and then distributed. But in this case, we find that Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya kept the Jagannath Prasādam separate. He kept it aside particularly for the satisfaction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 222. Hena Kale Mahaprabhu Maha Madhyan Kariya Ekale Aila Tandra Hriday Janiya. When everything was ready, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there alone after finishing his midday duties. He knew the heart of Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya. Verse 223. Bhaṭṭācārya Kaila Tabe Pad Prakshalana Gharera Bhitare Gela Karite Bhojana. After Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya washed the Lord's feet, the Lord entered the room to take his lunch. Verse 224. Anadi Dekhiya Prabhu Vismit Hena Bhaṭṭācārya Kahe Kichu Bhangi Kariya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a little astonished to see the gorgeous arrangement, and gesturing he spoke to Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya. Verse 225. Alokika e sab anna vyanjana dui prahar bhitare kaiche haila randhana. This is most uncommon. How was this arrangement of rice and vegetables finished within 6 hours? Verse 226. शत चुलाया शत जनपाका यदि करे तबु शीघ्र एता द्रव्य रांधिते ना पारे. Even 100 men cooking on 100 stoves could not possibly finish all these preparations within so short a time. Verse 2 to 7. Krishnera bhoga lagancha anuman kari upare dekhe yate tulsi manjari. I hope the food has already been offered to Krishna, since I see there is tulsi flowers on it. Verse 2 to 8. Bhagwan tumi safal tumar udyoga Radha Krishne lagancha etadrish bhogam. You are most fortunate and your endeavor is successful, for you have offered such wonderful food to Radha Krishna. Verse 2 to 9. Anera Sārvabhauma varna ati manorama Radha Krishne sakshat ihan karyachena bhojana. The color of the rice is so attractive and its aroma so good that it appears Radha and Krishna have directly taken it. Verse 230. Tomar bahut bhagya keta prashamsiba ami bhagyavan ihar avashesh paba. My dear Bhaṭṭācārya, your fortune is very great. How much shall I praise you? I also am very fortunate to be able to take remnants of this food. Verse 231. Krishnera asana pithar rakhaha utthan mor prasad deha bhinna patrete kariya. Take away Krishna's sitting place and put it aside, then give me Prasādam on a different plate. Verse 232. Bhaṭṭācārya bale prabhu na karaha vismay ye khabe tanhar shakte bhog siddha haya. Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya said, it is not so wonderful, my lord. Everything has been made possible by the energy and mercy of him who will eat the food. Verse 233. Udyog na chila mor grihinira randhane yandra shakte bhog siddha se taha jane. My wife and I did not especially exert ourselves in the cooking. He by whose power the food has been prepared knows everything. Verse 234. Eta asane vasi karaha bhojan prabhu kahe pujya e krishnera asan. Now please sit in this place and take your lunch. Purport Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, this place is worshipable because it was used by Krishna. According to etiquette, things used by Krishna should not be used by anyone else. Similarly, things used by spiritual master should also not be used by anyone else. That is etiquette. However, whatever is used by Krishna or the spiritual master is worshipable. In particular, their sitting or eating places should not be used by anyone else. A devotee must be very careful to observe this. Verse 235. Bhatta kahe anna pitha saman prasad anna khabe pithe vasite kahan aprad. The Bhaṭṭācārya said, both the food and the sitting place are the Lord's mercy. If you can eat the remnants of the food, what is the offense in your sitting in this place? Verse 236. Prabhu kahe bhala kaile shastra agyahaya krishnera sakal shesha bhritya aswadya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, yes, you have spoken correctly. The Shastras enjoin that the devotee can partake of everything left by Krishna. Verse 237. Tvayo payukta srag gandha vaso lankar charchitaha uchishta bhojano dashas tav mayam jayamahi. My dear Lord, the garlands and scented substances, garments, ornaments, and other such things have been offered to you, maybe later by your servants. By partaking these things and eating the remnants of food you have left, we will be able to conquer the illusory energy. Purport: this is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.6.46. In the Hare Krishna movement, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the dancing in ecstasy, and the eating of remnants of food offered to the Lord are very, very important. One may be illiterate or incapable of understanding the philosophy, but if he partakes these three items, he will certainly be liberated without delay. This verse was spoken by Uddhav to Lord Krishna. This was during the time when the Bhagavad-Gita was spoken. At the time, there was some disturbance in Dwarka, and Lord Krishna decided to leave the material world and enter the spiritual world. Uddhav could understand the situation and he talked with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The verse quoted above is an excerpt from their conversation. Shri Krishna's pastimes in this material world are called Prakat Lila, or the manifested pastimes, and his pastimes in the spiritual world are called Aprakat Lila, or the unmanifested pastimes. By unmanifested we mean they are not present before our eyes. It is not that the Lord Krishna's pastimes are non-existent. They are going on exactly as the sun is shining perpetually, but when the sun is present before our eyes, we call it daytime manifest, and when it is not, we call it night unmanifest. Also, those who are above the jurisdiction of night are always in the spiritual world, where the Lord's pastimes are constantly manifest to them, as the Brahma Samhita confirms. 5.37 to 38. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Prati Bhava Vitabhis Tabhir Ya Eva Nija Rupatya Kalabhi Golok Eva Nivasati Akhilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochinana Santah Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Golok, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Hladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyamsundar Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts, with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. Verse 238. Tathapi eteka anna khauna nao yaya bhatta kahe jani khao yatteka yuyaya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, there is so much food here that it is impossible to eat it all. Purport, the Bhaṭṭācārya replied, I know how much you can eat. Verse 239. Nilachale bhojan tumhe kar bayan bar ek ek bhogera anna shat shat bhar. After all, at Jagannath Puri you eat 52 times a day, and each time you eat hundreds of buckets filled with prasadam. Verse 240. Dwarkate shola sahasra mahishi mandire ashtadasha mata ar yadavere ghare. At Dwarka you keep 16,000 queens in 16,000 palaces. Also there are 18 mothers and numerous friends and relatives of the Yadu dynasty. Verse 241. Vraje jetha khuda mama pisati gopagana Sakha Vrinda Sabar Ghare Dvisandhya Bhojana. In Vrindavan, you also have your father's elder brothers, your father's younger brothers, maternal uncles, husbands of your father's sisters, and many cowherd men. There are also cowherd boyfriends, and you eat twice a day, morning and evening, in the house of each and every one. Purport, in Dwarka, Lord Krishna had 18 mothers, Devaki, Rohini and others. Besides, there was his foster mother Yashoda in Vrindavan. Lord Krishna also had many uncles, as stated by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Brihat Shri Shri Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika. Upanando Bhinnadash Cha Pitra Vyo Purva Jo Pituh. The elder brothers of Nand Maharaj were Upananda and Abhinanda. Similarly, in the same verse, the names of the younger brothers of Nand Maharaj are given. Priyavyo Tu Kani Yamshu Satyatam Sananda Nandanao. Sananda and Nandan, also known as Sunanda and Pandav, were the younger brothers of Krishna's father, Nand Maharaj. Shri Krishna's maternal uncles were also described in this book. Yashodhara, Yashodeva, Sudeva, Yavadyas, Tu Matulaha. Yashodhara, Yashodeva, and Yasudeva were the maternal uncles of Krishna, also mentioned in Radha Krishna Kanodesh Deepika. Are Krishna's uncles, who were the husbands of Nand Maharaj's sister Mahanila, Sunilash Cha Ramanav Etayo Kramat. Maha, Anila and Sunila are the husbands of Krishna's aunts. Verse 242, Govardhan Yagye Anna Khalila Rashi Rashi Tar Lekhaya e Anna Nahe Ek Grasi. Indeed, Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya continued, at the Govardhan Puja ceremony you ate stacks of rice. In comparison to that, this small quantity is not even a morsel for you. Verse 243, Tumi ta Ishwara Muni Kshudra Jivachar Ek Grasa Madhukari Karaha Angikari. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas I am a most insignificant living being. Therefore, please accept a little quantity of food from my house. Purport: a sannyasi is expected to collect a little food from each and every householder. That is to say, he should take whatever he requires to eat. This system is called Madhukari. The word Madhukari comes from the word Madhukar and means honey collecting bees. Bees collect a little honey from each flower, but all these small quantities of honey accumulate to become a beehive. Sannyasis should collect a little from each and every householder and should eat simply what is necessary to maintain the body. Being a sannyasi, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could collect a little food from the house of Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya, and this was the Bhaṭṭācārya's request. Compared to the food eaten by the Lord on other occasions, the Bhaṭṭācārya's feast was not even a morsel. This is what the Bhaṭṭācārya is pointing out to Lord. Verse 244, Eta Shuni Hasi Prabhu Vasila Bhojane Jagannathere Prasad Bhatta Dena Harshamane. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and sat down to eat. The Bhaṭṭācārya with great pleasure first offered him the Prasādam from the Jagannath temple. Verse 245, Hina Kale Amogha Bhaṭṭācāryera Jamata Kulina Nindak Tenho Shati Kanyara Bharta. At this time, the Bhaṭṭācārya had a son-in-law named Amogha, who was the husband of his daughter Shati. Although born in an aristocratic Brahmin family, Amogha was a great fault finder and blasphemer. Verse 246, Bhojan dekhite chahe asite na pare, lathi hate Bhaṭṭācārya ache na duyare. Amogha wanted to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat, but he was not allowed to enter. Indeed, the Bhaṭṭācārya guarded the threshold of his house with a stick in his hand. Verse 47, Teno yadi prasad dite haila annamana Amogha asi anna dekhi kare nindana. However, as soon as the Bhaṭṭācārya began distributing prasadam and was a little inattentive, Amogha came. Seeing the quantity of food, he began to blaspheme. Verse 248, Eyanne tripta haya dasha bar jana Ekela sannyasi kare etika bhakshana. This much of food is sufficient to satisfy 10 or 12 men, but this sannyasi alone is eating so much. Verse 49, Shunite Bhaṭṭācārya ulti chahila Tandra avadhan dekhi Amogha pulaila. As soon as Amogha said this, Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya turned his eyes upon him. Seeing the Bhaṭṭācārya's attitude, Amogha immediately left. Verse number 250, Bhaṭṭācārya lathi lena marite dhaila palila palaila Amogha tar laga na paila. The Bhaṭṭācārya ran after him to strike him with a stick, but Amogha fled so fast that the Bhaṭṭācārya could not catch him. Verse 251, Tabe gali shap dite Bhaṭṭācārya aila ninda shuni Mahaprabhu hasite lagila. The Bhaṭṭācārya then began to curse his son-in-law and call him all ill names. When the Bhaṭṭācārya returned, he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was laughing to hear him criticize Amogha. Verse 252, Shuni Shathira Mata Shire Buke Ghat Mare Shathi Randi Hauka Iha Bale Bare Bare. When Shati's mother, the Bhaṭṭācārya's wife, heard the incident, she immediately began to strike her head and chest, saying again, Let Shati become a widow. Verse 253, Dunhara dukha dekhi Prabhu Dunha Prabhu diya Dunhar ichhate bhojan kaila tushtahena. Seeing the lamentation of both husband and wife, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to pacify them. According to their desire, he ate the prasadam and was very satisfied. Verse 254. Achman Karan Bhatt Dila Mukhavas Tulsi Manjari Lavang Ilaichi Rasavas. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finished eating, the Bhaṭṭācārya poured water for the Lord to wash his mouth, hands and legs, and offered him flavored spices, tulsi manjaris, cloves and cardamoms. Verse number 255. Sarvange Paraila Prabhura Malye Chandana Dandavat Hena Bale Sadayanya Bachan. The Bhaṭṭācārya then placed a flower garland over Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and smeared his body with sandalwood pearl. After offering obeisances, the Bhaṭṭācārya submitted the following humble statement. Verse 256. Nimda karaite tuma anno anino nij ghare e aprabdha prabhu kshama kara more. I brought you to my house just to have you blaspheme. This is a great offense. Please excuse me. I beg your pardon. Verse 257. Prabhu kahe ninda nahe sahaj kahila ihate tumar kiba apradhaila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what Amogha has said is correct, therefore it is not blasphemy. It is, what is your offense? Eta, verse 258. Eta bali Mahaprabhu chalila bhavane Bhaṭṭācārya tanra ghare gela tanra sane. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and returned to his residence. Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya followed him. Verse 259. Prabhu pade padi bahu atmaninda kaila tanre shant kari Prabhu ghare pathaila. Falling down at Lord's feet, Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya said many things in self-reproach. The Lord then pacified him and sent him back to his home. Verse 260. Ghare aschi Bhaṭṭācārya sathira mata sane Apana Nindiya Kichu Balena Vachane. After returning to his home, Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya consulted with his wife, the mother of Shati. After personally condemning himself, he began to speak as follows. Verse number 261. Chaitanya Gosanira Ninda Shunila Yaha Haite Tare Vadha Kaile Haya Papa Praishchite. If a man who blasphemes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is killed, his sinful actions may be atoned. Purport: the Hari Bhakti Vilas cites the following quotation from the Skanda Puran concerning the blasphemy of Vaishnav. Yohi Bhagavatam Lokam Upahasam Nripottam Karoti Tasya Nashyanti Artha Dharma Yashah Sutaha Nindam Kurvanti Ye Mudha Vaishnavanam Mahatmanam Patanti Pitribhi Prasādam Maharorva Samjinite Hanti Nindati Havai Veshti Vaishnavan Nabhinandanti Krudhyati Yati No Harsham Darshane Patanani Shat. In a conversation between Markandeya and Bhagirath, it is said, my dear king, one who desides an exalted devotee loses the results of his pious activities, his opulence, his reputation, and his sons. Vaishnavas are all great souls. Whoever blasphemes them falls down to the hell known as Maharorav, accompanied by his forefathers. Whoever kills or blasphemes a Vaishnav, and whoever is envious of a Vaishnav or angry with him, or whoever does not offer him obeisances or feel joy upon seeing him, certainly falls into hellish condition. Also, the Hari Bhakti Vilas gives the following quotation from the Dwarka Mahatmya. Kara patraischa phalayante sutru tivrair yama shashneh nindam kurvanti ye papa vaishvananam mahatmanam. In a conversation between Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, it is said that those sinful people who blaspheme the Vaishnavas, who are all great souls, are subjected very severely to the punishment offered by Yamraj. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami quotes this statement concerning the blaspheming of Lord Vishnu. Ye nindanti rishikesham tad bhaktam punya rupi nam shata janmarjitam punyam tesham nashyati nishchitam te pachante mahaghore kumbhi bhayanake Bhakti Shitaha Kita Sanghena Yavach Chandan Divakaro Shri Vishnur Avamanand Gurutaram Shri Vaishnavalo Langham Tadya Dushaka Janan Napashet Purusadhamam Tai Sarshadham Vanchaka Janayan Sa Vasham Nakaret. One who criticizes Lord Vishnu and his devotees loses all the benefits accrued in 100 pious births. Such a person rots in the Kumbhika hell and is bitten by worms as long as the sun and moon exists. One should therefore not even see the face of a person who blasphemes Lord Vishnu and his devotees. Never try to associate with such persons. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami further quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 74, verse 40. Nindam Bhagavataha Shravamsha Tat Parasaya Janasya Va Tato Napayati Yaso Api Yat Adaha Shukrashtuyaha. If one does not immediately leave upon hearing the Lord or the Lord devotees blasphemed, if he falls down from devotional service. Similarly, Lord Shiva's wife Sati states in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, where was I? If one does not immediately leave upon hearing the Lord or Lord's devotees blasphemed, he falls down from the devotional service. Similarly, Lord Shiva's wife Sati states in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.4.17, Karanau Pidahaya Nirayad Akalpa Ishe Dharma Vitari Arshi Nibhir Asyamane Chindayat Prasahai Rushtim Astim Prabhush Chet Jivam Asun Api Tato Visri Chet Dharma. If one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of religion, he should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender. And after that, he should give up his own life. Verse 262. Kimva nija prana yadi kari vimochana dui yogya nahe dui sharira brahmana. Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya continued, or if I give my own life, this sinful activity may be atoned. However, neither of these ideas is befitting because both bodies belong to brahmanas. Verse 263. Puna se nindakera mukha na dekhiba pratigyagya kailun tar naam na leiba. Instead, I shall never see the face of that blasphemer. I'll eject him and give up my relationship with him. I shall never speak his name. Verse 264. Shathira kaha tare chaduka se haila patita patita haile bharata tyajite uchita. Inform my daughter Shati to abandon her relationship with her husband because he has fallen down. When the husband falls down, it is the wife's duty to relinquish the relationship. Purport. Srila Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya considered that if Amogha were killed, the killer would suffer sinful reactions for killing the body of a Brahman. For the same reason, it would have been undesirable for the Bhaṭṭācārya to commit suicide because he also was a Brahman. Since neither course could be accepted, the Bhaṭṭācārya decided to give up his relationship with Amogha and never see his face. As far as killing the body of Brahman is concerned, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.53 gives the following injunction concerning a Brahma Bandhu, a person born of Brahman father but devoid of Brahmanical qualities. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Brahma Bandhur Nav Hantavya Atatai Vadharahena. The personality of Godhead of Krishna said, a Brahma Bandhu is not killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. Quoting from the Smriti, Sri Srila Sridhar Swami comments on this quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, Ataitam Ayantam Api Vedanta Paragram Jigam Santam Jigam Mesyan Natena Brahma Ha Bhavet. An aggressor intent on killing may be very learned scholar of Vedanta, yet he should be killed because of his envy in killing others. In such case, it is not sinful to kill a Brahman. It is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.57, Vapanam Dravinadanam Sthanam Niryapanam Tatha Esha hi Brahman Bandhunam Vadho Nanyo Sti Dehika. Cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, and driving him from his residence are the prescribed punishments for a Brahmabandhu. There is no injunction for killing the body. As far as Shati, the daughter of Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya, was concerned, she was advised to give up her relationship with her husband. Concerning this, Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.18 states, No pati na cha sasyan namochayed yaha samupeta mrityum. One cannot be a husband if he cannot liberate his dependents from the inevitable death. If a person is not in Krishna consciousness and is bereft of spiritual power, he cannot protect his wife from the path of repeated birth and death. Consequently, such a person cannot be accepted as a husband. A wife should dedicate her life and everything to Krishna for further advancement in Krishna consciousness. If her husband abandons Krishna consciousness and she gives up her connection with him, she follows in the footsteps of the Dvijapatnis, the wives of the Brahmanas, who are engaged in performing sacrifices. The wife is not to be condemned for cutting off such relationship. In this regard, Sri Krishna assures the Dvijapatnis in Brahma, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.23.31 and 32. Patayo na bhyasuyeran pitra bhratre sutadayaha lokash chana mayo peta deva api anumanvante na pritaye anuragaya hi sanga sango nrinam iha tan mano mai yunjana achiran mam avapasyatha. My dear Dvijapatnis, rest assured that your husbands will not neglect you on your return, nor will your brothers, sons or fathers refuse to accept you, because you are my pure devotees. Not all your relatives, but all people in general, as well as the demigods, will be satisfied with you. Transcendental love for me does not depend upon bodily connection, but anyone whose mind is always absorbed in me will surely very soon come to me for my eternal association. Verse 265, Patim cha patitam tyajet. When a husband is fallen, one's relationship with him must be given up. Purport: this is a quotation from Smriti Shastra as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.11.28. Santushta lolupa daksha dharmajna priya satyavak apramatta shuchi snigdha patim tva apatitam bhajet. A wife who is satisfied, who is not greedy, who is expert and knows religious principles, who speak what is dear and truthful and is not bewildered, and who is always clean and affectionate, should be very much devoted to her husband if he is not fallen. Verse 266, Sai ratre amog kahan palan gela pratah kale tara vishu chika vyadhi haila. That night Amoga Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya's son-in-law fled, and in the morning he immediately fell sick with cholera. Verse 2767, Amoga Marena Shuni Kahe Bhaṭṭācārya Sahai Haya Dev Kaila Mor Karya. When Bhattacharya heard that Amog was dying of cholera, he thought, it is the favor of Providence that he is doing what I want to do. Verse 268, Ishware ta aparadha phale tata kshana eta bali pade dui shastrera vachanam. When one offends the Supreme Personality of Godhead, karma immediately takes effect. After saying this, he recited 2 verses from the revealed scriptures. Verse 269. Mahata hi prayatnena hasti ashwaratha patibhi asambhir yad anu stheyam gandharvais tad anusthitam. What we have had to arrange with a great endeavor by collecting elephants, horses, chariots and infantry soldiers has already been accomplished by the Gandharvas. Purport: this is a quotation from Mahabharata Vanaparva 241.15. Bhimasena made this statement when all the Pandavas were living in the exilic forest. At that time there was a fight between Kauravas and Gandharvas. The Kaurav soldiers were under the command of Karna, but the commander-in-chief of the Gandharvas was able to arrest all the Kauravas by virtue of superior military strength. At that time Duryodhana's ministers and commanders requested Maharaj Yudhishthira to help. After being thus petitioned, Bhimsena spoke the verse given above, remembering Duryodhana's former nefarious and atrocious activities against them. Indeed, Bhimsen felt it was fitting that Duryodhana and his company were arrested. This could have been accomplished by the Pandavas only with great endeavor. Verse 217. Ayu Shriyam Yasho Dharmam Lokan Ashish Evacha Hanti Shriyamsi Sarvani Pumso Mahad Atikramaha. When a person mistreats great souls, his lifespan, opulence, reputation, religion, possession, and good fortune are all destroyed. Purport: the statement from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.4.46 was made by Shukdev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. This quotation concerns the attempted killing of Krishna's sister Yogmaya, who appeared before Krishna's birth as the daughter of Mother Yashoda. This daughter Yogmaya and Krishna were born simultaneously, and Vasudeva replaced Yogmaya with Krishna and took Yogmaya away when she was brought to Mathuras, and Kamsa attempted to kill her. Yogmaya slipped out of his hands. She could not be killed. She then informed Kamsa about the birth of his enemy Krishna, and being thus baffled, Kamsa consulted his associates, who were all demons. When this big conspiracy was taking place, this verse was being spoken by Shukdev Goswami. He points out that a demon can lose everything because of his nefarious activities. The word Mahad Atikrama, meaning envy of Lord Vishnu and his devotee, is significant in this verse. The word Mahad indicates a great personality, a devotee, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Being always engaged in the Lord's service, the devotees themselves are as great as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Mahat is also explained by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita 9.13. Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim ashrita bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Being envious of the Lord and his devotees is not at all auspicious for a demon. By such envy, a demon loses everything considered beneficial. Verse 271. Gopinathacharya Gela Prabhu Darshane Prabhu Tandre Puchila Bhaṭṭācārya Vivarane. At this time, Gopinathacharya went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord asked him about the events taking place in Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya's house. Verse 272. Acharya kahi upavas kaila duijana visu chika vyadhite mamog chadiche jivana. Gopinathacharya informed that the Lord that both husband and wife were fasting, and that their son-in-law Amog was dying of cholera. Verse 273. Shuni kripa mai prabhu aila dhana amogere kahe tar buke hastadiya. As soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Amog was going to die, he immediately ran to him in great haste. Placing his hand on Amoga's chest, he spoke as follows. Verse 274. Sahaja nirmala e brahmana hridaya krishnera vasite e yogaya sthanahaya. The heart of a Brahman is by nature very clean, therefore it is proper place for Krishna to sit. Verse 275. Matsarya Chandala Kene Ihan Vasile Param Pavitra Sthana Apavitra Kaile. Why have you allowed the Chandala of jealousy to sit here also? In this way you have contaminated a most purified place, your heart. Verse 276, Sārvabhauma Sange Tumar Kalusha Hailakshaya Kalmasha Guchile Jive Krishna Namalaya. However, due to the association of Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya, all your contamination is now vanquished. When a person's heart is cleansed of all contamination, he is able to chant the Mahamantra Hare Krishna. Verse 277, Uttha Amoga Tumi Lo Lao Krishna Nama Achire Tumare Kripa Kari Bhagavan. Therefore, Amoga, get up and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you do so, Krishna will unfailingly bestow mercy upon you. Purport: the absolute truth is realized in three phases: impersonal, Brahman and Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. All these are one and the same truth, but Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan constitute three different features. Whoever understands Brahman is called Brahmana, and when the Brahman engages in Lord's devotional service, he is called Vaishnava. Unless one comes to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his realization of impersonal Brahman is imperfect. A Brahmana can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the platform of Namavasa, but not on the platform of pure vibration. When a Brahman engages in the Lord's service, fully understanding the eternal relationship, his devotional service is called Abhideya. When one attains a stage, he is called Bhagavat or Vaishnava. This indicates that he is free from contamination and material attachment of Lord, as Lord Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad-Gita 7.28, Yesham tva antagatam papam jnanam punya karmanam tva dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrata. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful activities are completely eradicated, are free from duality of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. The Brahman may be very learned scholar, but this does not mean that he is free from material contamination. A Brahman's contamination, however, is the mode of goodness. In the material world, the three modes are goodness, passion and ignorance, and all of these are simply different gradations of contamination. Unless a Brahman transcends these contamination and approaches the platform of unalloyed devotional service, he cannot come to be accepted as Vaishnava. An impersonalist may be aware of this, of the impersonal Brahman feature of the absolute truth, but his activities are on the impersonal platforms. Sometimes he imagines the form of the Lord, Sagunupasana, but such an attempt is never successful in helping one attain complete realization. The impersonalist may consider himself a Brahmana and may be situated in the mode of goodness, but nonetheless he is conditioned by one of the modes of material nature. This means that he is not yet liberated. For liberation cannot be attained unless one is completely free from the modes. In any case, the Mayavad philosophy keeps one conditioned. If one becomes Vaishnava through proper initiation, he automatically becomes a Brahman. There is no doubt about it. The Guru Pran confirms, Brahmana nam sahasrebhya satra yaji vashishyate satra yaji sahasrebhya sarva vedanta paraga sarva vedanta vid kotya Vishnu bhakto visidayat. Out of my thousands of Brahmins, one may become qualified to perform yajna. Out of many thousands of such qualified Brahmins, one may be fully aware of the Vedanta philosophy. Out of many millions of Vedanta scholars, there must be one Vishnu Bhakta or Lord Vishnu. It is also, or devotee of Lord Vishnu. It is also who is most exalted. Unless one is fully qualified Brahman, he cannot advance in spiritual science. The real Brahman is never envious of Vaishnavas if he is considered an imperfect neophyte. Impersonalist Brahmins are always opposed to Vaishnava principles. They are envious of the Vaishnavas because they do not know how the goal of life. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnum. However, when a Brahman becomes a Vaishnav, there is no duality. If a Brahman does not become a Vaishnav, he certainly falls out on the Brahman platform. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.3. We can actually see that in this age of Kali, many so-called Brahmins are envious of Vaishnavas. The Kali contaminated Brahmins consider deity worship to be imaginative. Such a contaminated Brahman may be superficially imagine the form of Lord, but actually he considers the deity in the temple to be made of stone and wood. Similarly, such a contaminated Brahman considers the Guru to be only ordinary human being. And he objects when a Vaishnava is created by the Krishna consciousness movement. Many so-called Brahmins attempt to fight us, saying, how can you create a Brahman out of European or an American? A Brahman can be born only in Brahman family. They do not consider that this is never stated in any revealed scriptures. Lord Krishna always states in Bhagavad-Gita 4.13, Chaturvarnyam maya sishtam gunam karma vibhagascha. According to the Chaturvarnyam maya sishtam guna karma vibhagascha. According to, this is from Bhagavad-Gita 4.3, according to the three modes of material nature and the works associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. Thus, a Brahman is not a result of the caste system. He becomes a Brahman is not the result of caste system. He becomes Brahman only by qualification. Similarly, a Vaishnava does not belong to a particular caste. Rather, his designation is determined by rendering the devotional service. Verse 278, Shuni Krishna Krishna Bali Amogha Uthaila Premun Made Matta Hena Nachite Lagila. After seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being touched by him, Amogha, who was on his deathbed, immediately stood up and began to chant the holy name of Krishna. Thus he became mad with ecstatic love and began to dance emotionally. Verse 279, Kampa Ashru Pulaka Stamba Sweda Sārvabhauma Prabhu Hase Dekhi Tar Premera Taranga. While Amogha danced in ecstatic love, he manifested all the ecstatic symptoms: trembling tears, jubilation, trance, perspiration, and a faltering voice. Seeing these waves, these waves of ecstatic emotion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to laugh. Verse 280. Verse 280. Prabhura charane dhari karaye vinaya aparadha kshama more Prabhu dayamay. Amogha then fell before the Lord's lotus feet and submissively said, O merciful Lord, please excuse my offense. Verse 281. Echar mukhe tumar karinu nindane eita bali apana gale. Apanaye gale. Where is it? Not only this, Amogha begged the Lord's pardon, but he also began slapping his own cheek, saying, by this mouth I have blasphemed you. Verse 282. Chadaite chadaite gal fulalila hate dhari undicha. आश्वासन करे स्पर्शी तार गात्र Sārvabhauma sambandhe tumi more sneha patra. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu versified more by touching his body and saying, "You are the object of my affection because you are the son-in-law of." After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specified more by touching his body and saying, "You are the object of my affection because you are the son-in-law of Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya." Verse 284. Sārvabhauma grihe dasa dasi ye kukura sreha morapiya ane. Including his maids and servants and even his dog. So everybody is dear to Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya's house, and what to speak of this relatives. Verse 285. Aprad nahi sada lau Krishna naam eta bali prabhu aila sarvam sasthan. Amog always chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and do not commit any further offenses. After giving Amog his instructions, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to verse number 286. Prabhu dekhi Sārvabhauma dharila charane Prabhu tanre alingya vasila asane. Upon seeing this, Lord Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya immediately caught hold of his lotus feet. The Lord embraced him and then sat down. Verse 287. Prabhu kahe amog shishu kiba tar dosha kene upavas kara kene kara rosha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified Sārvabhauma, saying, "After all, Amog, your son-in-law is a child, so what is his fault? Why are you fasting and why are you angry?" Verse 288. Utha snan kara dekha jagannath mukha shighra asi bhojan kara tabe mora sukha. Just get up and take your bath and go see the face of Lord Jagannath, then return here to eat your lunch. In this way I shall be happy. Verse 289. Tavat rahiba ami ithaya vasiya yavat na khaibe tumi prasad asiya. I shall stay here until you return to take Lord Jagannath's remnants for your lunch. Verse 290. Prabhu pad dhari bhatte kahite lagila marita amog tare kene jiyaila. Catching hold of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, the Bhaṭṭācārya said, "Why did you bring Amog back to life? It would have been better had he died." Verse 291. Prabhu kahe Amog shishu tumar balaka balak dosh na laye pita tahate palaka. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Amog is a child and your son, the father does not take the faults of his son seriously, especially when he is maintaining him." Verse 292. Ebe Vaishnav haila tar gela aparad tahara upare ebe karah prasad. Now that he has become a Vaishnav, he is offenseless. You can bestow your mercy upon him without hesitation. Verse 293. Bhatt kahe chala Prabhu Ishware darshane snana kari tanha muni asichon ekane. Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya said, "Please go, my lord, to see Lord Jagannath. After taking my bath, I shall go there and then return." Verse 294. Prabhu kahe Gopinath ihani rahiba inho prasad paile varta amake kahiba. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told Gopinath, "Stay here and inform me when Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya has taken his prasadam." Verse 295. Ita bali Prabhu gela Ishwara darshane bhatte snana darshan karila bhojane. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath. Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya completed his bath, went to see Lord Jagannath and then returned to his house to accept food. Verse 296. Sayamoga haila prabhura bhakta ekanta prema nache Krishna namalaya maha shanta. Thereafter Amog became an unalloyed devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He danced in ecstasy and peacefully chanted the holy name of Lord Krishna. Verse 297. Aiche chitra lila kare shachira nandana ye dekhe shune tanra vismay hai mana. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his various pastimes, whoever sees them or hears them recounted becomes truly astonished. Verse number 298. Aicha bhatt grihe kare bhojana vilas tara madhye nana chitra charitra prakash. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed eating in Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya's house. Within that one pastime, many wonderful pastimes were manifested. Verse 299. Sārvabhauma kare e bhojan charita Sārvabhauma prema yanha haila vidita. These are the peculiar characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Thus the Lord ate in Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya's house, and in this way Sārvabhauma's love for the Lord has become very well known. Purport as stated in Shakha Niranyamrita, Amoga Panditam Vande Shri Gaurenatma Sakritam Prema Gadgada Sandrangam Pulakakula Vigraham. I offer my obeisances unto Amog Pandit, who was accepted by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As a result of this acceptance, he was always merged in ecstatic love, and he manifested ecstatic symptoms such as choking of the voice and standing of the hairs on his body. Verse number 300. Shatira Matara Prem Ar Prabhura Prasad Bhakta Sambandhe Yaha Shamila Aparad. Thus I have related the ecstatic love of Sārvabhauma's wife, who is known as the mother of Shati. I have also related Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's great mercy, which he manifested by excusing Amoga's offense. He did so due to Amoga's relationship with the devotee. Purport: Amoga was an offender because he blasphemed the Lord. As a result, he was about to die of cholera. Amoga did not receive an opportunity to be freed from all offenses after being attacked by the disease. But Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya and his wife were very dear to the Lord. Because of their relationship, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu excused Amoga. Instead of being punished by the Lord, he was saved by the Lord's mercy. All this was due to the unflinching love of Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Externally, Amoga was Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya's son-in-law, and he was being maintained by Sārvabhauma. Consequently, if Amoga were not excused, his punishment would have directly affected Sārvabhauma. Amoga's death would have indirectly brought about the death of Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya. Verse number 301. Shraddha kari e lila shune ye jana achirat paye se chaitanya charana. Whoever hears these pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with faith and love will attain the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet very soon. Verse number 302. Sai Rupa Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yar Asha Chaitanya Charitamrit Kahe Krishnadasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit following in their footsteps. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit Madhya Lila, 15th chapter, describing the Lord's eating at the house of Sārvabhauma Bhaṭṭācārya. So we'll continue from chapter number 16 next time. Thanks for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.